Foxconn seeks to work with STMicro to build India chip plant. Japan launches Moon Sniper lunar lander to space. African leaders call for new global taxes to fund climate change action. US lawmaker calls for ending Huawei and SMIC exports. Mexico on track to elect its first woman president. Emerging currencies face uphill battle as dollar's supremacy continues. US prosecutors to seek Hunter Biden indictment by September 29. China considers law banning clothes that hurt feelings of nation.
Hello, I'm Jolie. Thank you so much for joining us on Funday News. It is Friday, September 8th, and here are your top stories. Foxconn Technology Group is teaming up with ST Microelectronics NV for a bid to build a semiconductor factory in India. People familiar with the matter said Taiwan's Foxconn and Franco-Italian STMicro are applying for state support for a 40-nanometer chip plant. Such mature chips are used in cars, cameras, printers, and a wide variety of other machines. Bloomberg said by partnering with STMicro, Foxconn is tapping the expertise of a chip industry pioneer to expand in the lucrative but difficult semiconductor business.
According to most recent reports, Foxconn wants to set up 4 to 5 semiconductor fabs in India.
The People said New Delhi has asked Foxconn for more details about its partnership with STMicro. Bloomberg noted any chip project, including Foxconn's, will have to make detailed disclosures including whether it has firm, binding agreements with a technology partner for production, as well as financing plans comprising equity and debt arrangements. One source said Foxconn is also in talks with a few other companies that have chip-making technology.
Japan launched its lunar exploration spacecraft on Thursday aboard a homegrown H-28 rocket, clearing a path to become the world's 5th country to land on the moon early next year. Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency said the rocket took off from Tanegashima Space Center in southern Japan as planned and successfully released the smart lander for investigating moon. Dubbed the Moon Sniper, Japan aims to land slim within 100 meters of its target site on the lunar surface.
The $100 million mission is expected to reach the moon by February. Thursday's HEA rocket also carries the X-ray Imaging and Spectroscopy mission, XRISM, satellite, a joint project of JAXA, NASA and the European Space Agency. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries manufactured the rocket and operated the launch, which marked the 47th HEA rocket Japan has launched since 2001, bringing the vehicle's success rate close to 98%. The country plans to send astronauts to the moon in the late 2020s.
African leaders on Wednesday in Nairobi proposed new global taxes to help fund climate change action in a declaration that will form the basis of their negotiating position at November's COP28 summit. The European Commission proposed a financial transaction tax for climate change, and African countries will take the proposals in the Nairobi Declaration to a UN climate conference later this month and the COP28 summit, which begins in the United Arab Emirates in late November.
The Nairobi Declaration urged world leaders to rally behind the proposal for a global carbon taxation regime, including a carbon tax on fossil fuel trade, maritime transport and aviation, that may also be augmented by a global financial transaction tax. It said implementing such measures at a global level would ensure large-scale financing for climate-related investments and insulate the issue of tax raises from geopolitical and domestic political pressures.
The chair of the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on China said on Wednesday that the U.S. Commerce Department should end all technology exports to Huawei and China's top semiconductor firm following the discovery of new chips in Huawei phones may violate trade restrictions. Representative Mike Gallagher said this chip likely could not be produced without U.S. technology, and thus SMIC may have violated the Department of Commerce's foreign direct product rule.
Gallagher said, "The time has come to end all U.S. technology exports to both Huawei and SMIC to make clear any firm that flouts U.S. law and undermines our national security will be cut off from our technology." The trade restrictions imposed on Huawei and SMIC include the Foreign Direct Product Rule meant to bar any company anywhere in the world from using tools from the US to manufacture a chip for Huawei. Reuters reported about 90% of the licenses were for sales to SMIC.
Mexico's ruling party on Wednesday named former Mexico City Mayor Claudia Sheinbaum as its candidate in next year's presidential race, a highly anticipated move that puts the country on track to elect its first woman president. The major opposition coalition had already chosen another woman, Xochitl Gálvez, a sitting senator in the Mexican Congress, as its standard bearer. The two women are slated to face off in elections scheduled for June 2nd.
Sheinbaum, 61, a physicist and former university professor, is heavily favored to win next year's election in large part because of her close association with López Obrador, 69, the president. Obrador is extremely popular, boasting 60% approval ratings, largely because of his appeal among poor and working-class voters. If elected, Sheinbaum would also be Mexico's first president of Jewish ancestry. Her maternal and paternal grandparents emigrated to Mexico from Eastern Europe.
A Reuters poll of FX analysts found emerging market currencies will struggle to reclaim the ground lost this year as high U.S. Treasury yields and safe haven demand amid a slowing Chinese economy keeps the dollar ascending. The dollar index has surged more than 5% since its 15-month nadir in July. Chinese yuan has fallen about 6% to a near 16-year low this year. The Russian ruble was predicted to only gain about 3% to 95.24 rubles for $1 in 3 months. The ruble will fall to 99 rubles for $1 in a year.
Reuters said typically volatile Asian currencies will remain relatively stable, in part because central banks will manage stability using FX reserves. After a 10% fall last year, the Reserve Bank of India has helped confine the rupee within a tight range of 80.88 to 83.18 per dollar so far this year. The Korean won was expected to gain about 2% to $1,308.5 in 3 months after falling over 5% this year. In Africa, South Africa's rand was expected to just gain about 4% in 3 months to 18.53 per dollar.
U.S. prosecutors said in a court filing on Wednesday they will seek an indictment of President Joe Biden's son Hunter by September 29th in his tax and firearms case. David Weiss, who was appointed U.S. Special Counsel by U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland in August, wrote in a status report to U.S. District Judge Mary Ellen Norica, the government intends to seek the return of an indictment in this case before that date. In July, Norica rejected a proposed plea deal that would have resolved the tax and gun charges.
Hunter Biden's lawyers said in court filings last month that prosecutors reneged on a plea deal that would have resolved the charges. Under the proposed plea arrangement, Hunter Biden would have pleaded guilty to not paying taxes on $1.5 million in income between 2017 and 2018 and entered into a separate deferred prosecution agreement for illegally owning a firearm while using drugs, a felony. Hunter Biden's attorney Abby Lowell expressed his belief on Wednesday that the deal was still in effect.
China's public is expressing concern about a potential legal change that would allow for fines and even jail time for people who offend the government's sensibilities by wearing the wrong clothing. The Standing Committee of the nation's legislature recently released a draft of revisions to the law it is considering that would forbid a range of behavior, including dress or speech detrimental to the spirit of the Chinese people and hurt the feelings of the Chinese people.
你穿汉服来，我绝对不会这样说，对吧？ 但是你穿和服啊，作为一个中国人来说，你是中国人。
China's lawmakers didn't spell out exactly what could get people sent to a detention center for up to 15 days or fined up to 5,000 yuan, $680. Many people on Chinese social media expressed concern the proposed changes to the law may be going too far. Police in Suzhou detained a woman last year for wearing a kimono in public. Authorities have also clamped down on people wearing shirts with rainbows at concerts and distributing flags on a university campus that had the pro-LGBTQ symbol on them.
The answer for yesterday was A, walk out. I had to clean out my whole system and walk out for a while. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into the news of China considering law banning clothes that hurt feelings of nation. Sensibility, 有指易受伤害或影响的感情。The article offended her religious sensibilities. Draft, 草稿、草案、草图. This is only the first draft of my speech. Detrimental, 有害的、不利的. The policy will be detrimental to the peace process. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comments section. The correct answer will be announced tomorrow. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune into Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Jolie, your host. I'll see you next time.